Picture this. I'm ankle-deep in cow manure, boots sinking into the muck of my late uncle's ranch, when a guy in a tie, polished shoes, clipboard, corporate ego, hands me a bill for $47,322.14. The HOA claims my uncle's scrappy 50-acre spread racked up fines since 1997, 2 years before I was born. Pay in 30 days or they'll foreclose. I'm no pushover. I'm a licensed land use attorney, and they just made a fatal legal mistake. This isn't just a story about a greedy HOA. It's a battle for my uncle's legacy, and I fought back with mud on my boots and fire in my gut. It started like a bad joke. I'm on this rugged patch of land I barely wanted, inherited from my Uncle Ted. 50 acres of crumbling sheds, clucking chickens, and pure leave-me-alone vibes. Ted built this ranch in the 80s, long before any HOA dreamed of calling it a community. Yet here's this guy, Phil, listing violations, unauthorized fencing, non-compliant livestock containment, and, get this, unapproved shade structures. Probably the tractor roof Ted rigged for his goats. I stared at him, muck dripping off my boots. You trekked past a gate, 2 goats, and a rusted tractor to tell me my barn's an eyesore? He didn't flinch, just handed me a pamphlet to join the community formally, and strutted off, smug as sin. I laughed, hard enough to nearly slip in the manure. Not because it was funny, but because it was wild. Ted's ranch was his retirement rebellion, not some HOA brochure fantasy. I inherited it after he passed. No will, no kids, just me, the city nephew he barely knew. I expected a grim cleanup, maybe a quick sale. Instead, I found something serene. But that $47,322.14 bill, it stank worse than the dung heap. How does an HOA fine a property predating its existence? That night, in the ranch's one room with power, I sifted through Ted's papers. No notices, no liens, just this sudden cash grab from an HOA that felt conjured from thin air. Next morning, a woman stood at my gate, arms folded like she'd already claimed the deed. Blonde ponytail, gold hoops, mint green jacket, Sharon, HOA president. This property's been a blight for decades, she sneered. I blinked. Lady, my uncle had more cows than neighbours. She didn't smile, just ranted about community standards and beautification, claiming she'd filed reports for years. Then she slipped me a real estate card. If it's too much, I can help you sell. Discreetly. We'd even waive some fines. There it was, not just a clipboard nut, but a land shark who'd likely hounded Ted for years. Now, with him gone, she saw me as the soft city fool who'd cave. It wasn't about goats or fences. It was a land grab, and they pegged me as spineless. They didn't know I'd spent 3 years buried in municipal law, passed the bar 6 months back, and trained under a guy who crushed HOAs for sport. Those muddy boots hit a mind plotting a counterstrike. I smiled, said I'd think about her offer. She left, smug, thinking she'd won. By evening, I had a whiteboard up, notes plastered on walls, and a binder tagged HOA takedown. Grief was gone. I was ready for war. The mailbox coughed up a pink envelope. Official seal, foreclosure intent from the HOA treasurer. I hadn't unpacked, and they'd already swung. But they'd handed me ammo. Days blurred as I dug through files, watching Sharon cruise by in her SUV like a petty crook casing a joint. Mornings brought fresh violation notices stapled to my fence. Not mailed, hand-delivered. Goats too loud pre-7 a.m. Unauthorized structures? The 90s chicken coop, now raccoon turf. My favorite? The scarecrow's threatening stance. I half expected a fine for excessive dandelions. I played dumb, smiled, nodded, letting them underestimate me. In town, I grabbed the HOA charter and community map, then hit the county clerk for 90s zoning archives. My jaw tightened. The HOA started in 1999. Ted's ranch was never on its initial map. No covenant signed, no annexation, nothing. It sat outside their grip like a stubborn ox. Now they were retroactively roping it in. Phil returned. No tie, golf shirt, wraparound shades, fresh off a botched putt. He leaned on community harmony, said the fines reflected long-term non-compliance, then dangled a local buyer to handle it quietly if I was overwhelmed. Buyer's name? Rhymed with Sharon. I asked if my scarecrow faced jail time. He didn't laugh. They never do. Sharon upped the ante, holding a community meeting in the cul-de-sac by my land. No Zoom, just chairs and a podium like a stump speech. I watched her preach about property value saboteurs. Someone clapped, another asked if the ranch could be condemned. Sharon played deaf. Greg, a gas station regular, waved awkwardly, mouthed, "Sorry." I thumbed up, went inside. That night, legal tabs glowed. Precedents of HOAs overreaching on unclaimed land. Rulings were clear. No agreement, no power. But I needed intent, malice, a pattern. Then it broke. An online forum post from a 2018 ex-resident described the same playbook. Ghost fines, threats, cheap buyouts, Sharon named. I replied fast. Got 5 tales by midnight, some anonymous, some tied to deeds. Sharon's crew had bullied anyone blocking their vision. Most folded, I wouldn't. Next morning, a letter duct taped to the barn. Not a fine, but Sharon's HOA stationery, polite yet smug. She admired my grit, but warned resisting progress brought costly hardship, offering one last chat. I stared, not scared, impressed by her gall to threaten in calligraphy. I prepped, cleaned the porch, brewed coffee, stacked my docs, set up a laptop stand like a war room, hid a recorder under the table. When Sharon's SUV rolled in, she stepped out. Crisp shirt, fake pearls, clipboard, smiling like she'd won. I smiled back, sat her down. She babbled about legacy and change, pitched a bigger number, investors ready to pounce. What's the HOA's legal basis to fine a non-signatory property? I asked. She blinked, then spun, historical inclusion, board consistency. I slid over the county map, my land outside their lines. Her grin twitched. I leaned in low. Sharon, you're trespassing, filing fraud, slandering my title, pushing illegal foreclosure. You made it personal. I'll make it legal. Her eyes slit, voice dropped. Threatening me? Informing you. She left, silent, no flair, just retreat. A week passed, quiet, heavy. Sharon didn't quit. She recalibrated. I kept building, requested HOA records, copied fines, scanned notices, dug up Ted's tax files. Found a 2004 notarized no HOA letter signed and filed. Slam dunk. Then a restraining order slid under my door, court-stamped, claiming I'd harassed Sharon and Phil. Unwanted visits, threats, property damage. Laughable, but calculated to gag me, paint me unhinged. I called a law school pal. We filed a rebuttal fast, attached my Sharon recording, debunked every lie. Monday's hearing was a beige box courtroom. Sharon oozed brunch chic. Phil smirked. Their lawyer, a divorce hack, fumbled easement like a rookie. I laid out the map, Ted's letter, HOA charter, played the tape, Sharon offering to fix my woes for a sale. The judge cut their reply short, tossed the order, warned Sharon about false filings. I left steady, not triumphant, but firm. She looked rattled, her clipboard slipping. 2 days later, Greg called about an emergency HOA meeting, no notice, slipped by a drunk board leak. I parked across from the clubhouse, watched Sharon scribble on a whiteboard, Phil flipping papers. Some board members balked. One grey and balding stormed out. That night, a yellow envelope hit my floor. Not mailed, dropped. A law firm known for bullying settlements accused me of disrupting operations, demanded $5,000 and unsightly structure removal. Inside, an HOA memo, mint, internal, spilled a zoning loophole plot to annex my ranch via a shared dirt road, banking on outdated county rules. Someone, maybe Baldy, snuck it in. I didn't sleep. Rage burned. That memo was gold. Intent, conspiracy, Proof they knew they had no claim. I copied, scanned, backed it up, drafted a counterclaim. Harassment, title slander, process abuse, fraudulent annexation. Piled on the memo, map, letter, tape, Greg's rally clip. Sought punitive damages, fees. Filed it next morning, court stamped. Game on. Sharon got served by noon. Phil slunk back. No tie, no swagger, just tired. You really want this? He muttered. You started it. He nodded, left. Headlights hit later. A black SUV, not Sharon's, dropped an envelope. Deposition demand from a new firm, not hers, upping the ante. I showed up in crusty boots, wrinkled shirt, no tie for flair. Their conference room screamed HOA. Dull carpet, fake fern, water bottles like a truce. 2 suits flanked Sharon, lips a tight line, silent. Lawyers grilled me like I was a squatter. I stayed cool, sarcastic, just right. Why no fines paid? What's your legal grip on a non-HOA ranch? Why record, Sharon? My land, one-party consent state. Work with the HOA? Sure, straight to court. Sharon's brow flicked. They fumbled Ted's letter, stumped. The memo spooked them. A break shifted their tune. Settlement probes. Sharon glared, fury replacing smug. Trial hit. My claim accepted, damages on the table. The HOA tried ousting Sharon. She blocked it, dug in. I subpoenaed 5 years of finances. 2 days later, an anonymous board email dropped a spreadsheet. Fines funding trips, unreported cash, a party matching Sharon's bash. She walked into court, beige suit, pearls, heels clicking defiance. I wore the boots. My pal hauled docs. The judge, sharp, no fluff, gave fair time. I unloaded, map, letter, memo, tape, spreadsheet, video. Silence fell. Their side flailed. Community intent, implied consent, but crumbled. No jurisdiction, no dice. The judge ruled instant. Fines void. Foreclosure fraud, Sharon scolded. $118,000 to me. Liens lifted. She froze. Phil shrank. The board axed her that night, unanimous. Phil quit. The HOA spun PR. I ignored it. I fixed the coop, painted the barn, built a taller fence, hung a sign. Private property. No HOA. No Sharons. Greg brought pie. The inspector liked my blazer-clad scarecrow. A month later, a note, you win. No signature. I filed it, not proud, but sure. This was Ted's legacy, my stand. The ranch thrives. Goats bleat, scarecrow looms, HOAs steer clear. Drop your HOA horror story in the comments. Ever fought a land grab? Want a tour of Ted's ranch? Hit subscribe and let's keep these clipboards running scared.